I know you and I are a lot alike. I may be a girl, but I thought I was Iron Man. I'm a tough girl. I got this. I'm buying a house. I'm moving. I'm in control of my life. I've got this. I've got that. And I was like, maybe a little bit of what you just talked about, living to work. And I was just building up this big old wall, like it's a set of armor, and it wasn't the right kind of armor. The best kind of armor I can do is arm myself with, things that I read, reading scripture, reading inspirational, your notes that you put out on Facebook. I've always said, and I've sent you messages, you really inspire me, or whatever word that is that comes into my heart and into my soul, and I say, Todd made a difference today.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do for each
That's
other.
like I said, there's these little things in life that you got to pay attention to. Everybody's trying to see this big picture every day. It doesn't work that way. Never has for anybody I know, and it sure the heck doesn't happen for me. And then sometimes it just takes a quote, a note, somebody saying something that catches your ear. But you got to pay attention. Can't stay so closed-minded. Can't walk around blinders on. Because the minute I do that, then I get stuck in self. Love.
Well, I certainly love you, and I appreciate the time, and I'm gonna close this out. I ran into something. You know, we were talking, of course, Mother's Day, and we're all doing our memories, and I know you'll have this exact vision in your head. Mom sat at the head of the table with her cigarettes and her iced tea or her coffee, and it was endless. I mean, if you had the time, and this was not a lazy woman by any stretch of the imagination, but when I was a little girl and my mom would call her friend, it was because all of her housework was done, and then she sat down and she would talk to her best friend Betty and I would watch her, just cigarettes and coffee and talk on the phone for hours. She did that with all of us. Anybody could belly up to that table and talk to Mom. So we were talking about some of that, and some of those sweet memories of her. And, it made me think of Todd, and I know you were always, running around and hanging around over there and, you know, checking on her. And I don't know, you guys just floated in and out of there because you were in the area. And she just adored that. And I wrote this little book. It's called Mommy, Where Do All the Butterflies Go? And it's a poem that was inspired. Gina was 6 years old. She was in first grade. And she had a little girl that got sick with leukemia. And this is just a little book that it's a poem. And it was dedicated to a garden in Herbrick Primary School in Copley Fairlawn. And I wrote this poem, and then I got an idea. Hey, let's turn this into a book, and then we'll sell the book, and the proceeds can go to leukemia and lymphoma in her honor, in her memory. And so it's a little thing called Mommy, Where Do All the Butterflies Go? And it goes something like this. And it's kind of what we're talking about, the coming and going and paying attention and being aware of what's out there, and just really spending special time about Mom and your dad and Richard and Pam, and they are the butterflies. So once upon a time in the land of gardens, a mother and child were waiting, quietly waiting, and all was silent, and it was calm, and there was peace. The two of them had recently lost someone dear. Gazing at nature seemed to draw them near, now healing, as they watched life as it continued in this magnificent garden. Nature and gardens provide hope and future. This they both knew, for this garden they had nurtured and watched their flowers as they grew. Together they surrendered the four of their eyes on a creature that came to stay on a rose petal this warm summer day. It was a butterfly they now called their own, whose flight from here to there is quite unknown. Was it eating? Was it thinking while resting there? If you looked close enough, it seemed you could see her eyes blinking. The mother and child continued to wait on a flight they knew she would soon take. Not just any flight, not a jet in the night, nor a baby bird who's just let go of a safe nest it used to know, but a flight taking wander and search for new growth while traveling nature's colorful earth. Then it happened, without cause or reason, the goodbye of their butterfly. A little saddened by this passing, the child was the first to break the silence. She asked Mommy, "Where do all the butterflies go?" "What do you mean, dear?" "Well, Mommy, you know, like when the weather changes and prepares for the snow. That's what I'm wondering. Where is it that they go?" "Oh, I see. Well, let me think of what to say so that you understand in a special way. My dear child, I like to believe that inside her sleeve Mother Nature has a plan, that all things beautiful, no matter how tall or small, that there is a journey for us all. For a butterfly, it took a long time to create such color within those wings, the color that you and I enjoy like many things. For instance, the flowers in spring, tulips and daffodils, the color, while magnificent, leaves us ever so quickly. The color and splendor we welcome in spring, this is how they try their best to outdo each year, yet still leaving us after a few short weeks to rest. Well, just like you and I, we wonder how birds fly, how stars just hang there in the sky. Well, it would be too cold for a delicate creature such as a butterfly. The mother paused for a moment. She could see her little one imagine. We have coats and hats and mittens too. Imagine with all that on. A butterfly would not have the grace to fly in their delicate airspace. So while it is still warm, and you and I look for shade to get cool, our friends the butterflies are off to visit another garden with more flowers where the weather is nice and hot. Yet please remember, their journey they have not forgot. The garden and flowers that you grew for bugs, insects, and birds to come see, they will never forget you and me. Another family is waiting in a garden of new friends. They are off to live eternally. Then each year, with all of it, new friends and others in other colors, their cousins, aunts, and uncles too, they will be here again for you. So, my dear, those butterflies, they never really go away. They just rest a while, then prepare for life in another way. Yet you have asked, where do they go? I want to make sure that you know that just because they have left your secret garden, you must know and believe they are living in another way, sharing spirit with Mother Nature's creations. You see, children, parents, and all living things, the flowers and trees, they patiently wait to share the beauty in a place we may not know or understand, but we can count on her next creation in Mother Nature's assigned destination. It was quiet once again, yet the weather had something else in mind, for it started to rain. Mother shook her hands and fluttered them about. The child smiled, knowing it was time for them to move on as they fluttered inside, both pretending to fly. The child was so thankful for Mother's answers when asking why. That's a little something I call Mommy, Where Do the Butterflies Go? So
That was amazing.
Thanks, Todd. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And thanks everybody for listening. We've got new listeners, Todd. We've got people from all over. We've got Washington, California. We've got an increased number of listeners in Akron. We've got some Clevelanders that are starting to listen. And while the numbers are, I don't really look at the numbers. I look at the places. And I'm just so happy that we're expanding our reach and beginning to make a difference. So thank you, Todd.
You're welcome. And Tim, shoulder surgery 5 times fast.
That's Todd's advice. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Todd. Thank you for being here.
You're
Tuesdays
welcome.
with Todd. It is May 14th. Lead with love. Remember, fear is always going to be there, but courage is when you go ahead and do it anyway. Right, Todd?
Absolutely.
I love it. Well, thanks, you guys. Have a great day. And remember, if you're lonely, If you're feeling unloved, remember, Todd and I love you. We just know it. Have a great day. Bye.